Welcome, everyone, to the Believe in NFL Draft Prospect Podcast, interview edition. It's a Thursday, so you know that we're bringing you an in-depth look into some of the best players, not only in the 2021 NFL Draft, but also returning to college, future prospects that you need to keep an eye out for. And I think I'm here with someone that maybe from FBS perspective and from the University of Cincinnati perspective might not be too aware of yet. But I'm telling you right now, after the 2021 college football season, or during the 2021 college football season, I should say, you're going to be very aware of this young man, James Tunstall, who was originally a part of the UConn football program, went over to Stony Brook, was an All-American selection. Unfortunately, with everything that was going on with the COVID-19 pandemic, spring cancellations for the spring for the FCS season, he took the opportunity to use a transfer option to now end up at the University of Cincinnati. I believe that when we're talking about replacing James Hudson, replacing a couple offensive linemen, and continuing the success that Coach Fickell and this offense has had over the last couple of years, I think James is going to be a big part of it. So welcome in, James Tunstall. James, appreciate you, man. Again, taking a little bit of time here. Been a big fan of yours for a couple of years. I'm glad that we can finally get this going and finally get to be able to speak together.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk to you and, join you on this podcast today.
Oh, absolutely, man. So, James, I kind of want to run it through a little bit of a journey, right? Because obviously you have had a very interesting journey. I kind of want to hit all layers real quick. So originally, we're out of Lackey High School. You're a Maryland player to begin with, obviously, right? You have the Maryland roots. You end up at UConn. And I know that you actually played, in a few games at UConn before obviously ending up at Stony Brook. So before we get to the Stony Brook chapter of your career, take me through the recruiting coming out of high school and why ultimately for you, the University of Connecticut was the best spot for you.
Well, to think back during the recruiting process coming out in high school, it was pretty big. I was pretty heavily recruited. Had a lot of FCS. Had quite a few FBS offers as well. So just taking a step back and talking with friends, family, obviously. I told them, I want to just, play as early as I possibly could, which program was, up and coming and which program were, played young guys, more so. So that was something that stood out to me. Obviously, Coach Poindexter at the time, who was the DB coach there at UConn, we actually had a, good relationship going on there because, we talked a good amount, and when he invited me up to official visit, and I was actually pretty excited because I'm a huge basketball fan, and obviously UConn being a huge basketball school, it would have been nice thought of being able to go to Gamble and catching all the games and stuff. So I was really excited to get the offer from UConn. Took the official visit, really loved all the facilities. Obviously, got a chance to hang out with some of the guys there. Obviously, other recruits. And it was just really just a good fit from there.
Yeah, and I know you were actually, James, obviously in the same room for a little bit there at UConn with a guy in the 2020 NFL draft who I was a big fan of, Matt Pert, who was a fantastic right tackle, now playing and started a bunch of games for the New York Giants. When you kind of think back to that part, being able to play with a guy like Matt and to be able to maybe test yourself in a room of talented football players, how much did you think that helped you and gave you kind of a barometer of, I can play at this level, I'm this good, I can do this moving forward?
Oh, it helped me a lot, especially having a guy like, Matt in the room, like you said. He was a leader for me since day one. I also consider him like a big brother to me. He was like a big brother to me. Kind of like took me under his wing, taught me the do's and the don'ts, obviously, of being a college football player. So it was really helpful having him there and just being able to have somebody to look up to, not only, off the field, but on the field, because, he was a great football player. He was one of those guys who can switch from left to right, obviously. So he was a real good athlete. And being able to see that and, getting, a few pointers from him, stuff like that, and being able to, set, punch, all that, little stuff that you do as an offensive lineman, being able to get those pointers from him really helped me a lot. And it probably made me who I am today, just having, somebody like that just to look up to and try to not mirror, but, compete with them too. Obviously just being able to compete with them too is just, made us both better and, just gave us the opportunity to be better football players.
And I know, James, that you played in 9 games as a redshirt freshman for the University of Connecticut. And then obviously you made the decision you wanted to transfer to Stony Brook. Can you make just give me a glimpse into why at that time the transfer was the best move for you and why Stony Brook was the school that stood out for you?
Well, just Coach Etzel's staff not being the staff that initially recruited me coming out of high school, that definitely did play a little bit of a part of it. Not seeing the field, as much as I wanted to, and not feeling like I was being rewarded for the hard work I was putting in as much as I felt like. Just seeing other options out there after putting my name in the portal, just was the best option for me, because I just wanted to go somewhere where I can play right away and be able to showcase the talent that I knew I had and showcase all the hard work that I knew I was putting in.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously it paid off, because we're talking in 2019, sophomore All-American. We're a great football player for Stony Brook, absolutely phenomenal football player. Take me through that season. You're talking about that hard work that you felt like you should have been rewarded for while you were at Connecticut. You come into Stony Brook, you make an instant impact, you're an All-American, and all that hard work in that season seemed to pay off very quickly for you.
Absolutely. And, that season so far is probably my favorite season, because, it was the season that I felt like, my blueprint was definitely on. I was able to play in all 12 games that season, started 11 of them, 9 at 9 at left tackle and the other at right tackle. So it was just, it was great to be able to showcase even that, being able to showcase that I'm versatile and I'm able to play both sides, and I know the offense that well. And, that season was, it was great, playing against Utah State. It was a good game for us. Obviously, the score doesn't really tell the full story, but it was a good game for me because I was able to get some experience under my belt. It was my first college start, and I remember that game like it was yesterday. I was playing like I've never played before. I was just so locked in. I was just really excited, and I was happy to be able to experience that. And throughout the season, playing good guys like Cam Gills and obviously John Daka and Rondell Carter and guys like that. It was really good, because there are some ballers in the FCS. Even though they get overlooked here and there, but there are some real good ballers down there, and playing against them, just really helped me become better as well too. Because it's the trenches. You gotta come with it, and going against those guys also made me the player I am today.
Yeah, some really great football players. And Cam Gill just won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So obviously talent comes from everywhere. And you obviously were tested against some of the best on the FCS level, and you graded out very highly, obviously, from the media perspective, from the national perspective. And I know, just to get the negative side of things out of the way here, James, because I know we talked a little bit about the impacts of COVID before we started. Just this past offseason, with the FCS delayed into the spring, uncertainty. Obviously, you being a Stony Brook guy, you're in New York, which is one of the worst spots that was hit by the pandemic in general. Just take me through this past offseason, no season, and trying to navigate these obstacles to the best of your ability.
Well, as you pointed to, it was definitely rough. It was quite the time. Definitely still fresh of a taste. Things looking a little bit better, but I remember just coming off of shoulder surgery at the time, because I had tore my labrum during the season and waited to the end of the season to get surgery, and just that was a big obstacle. I was trying to come back and be ready for spring ball. Then boom, we're in a pandemic in March, and it's like just rehabbing, like don't know what's going on, just isolated, quarantining, rehabbing, doing what I can, doing what the doctors say you can do. Still not being, obviously 100%. So, can't like go to the weight room or anything like that. Just gotta, do the Zoom meetings with the trainers and stuff, and show them what you progress to, stuff like that. It just wasn't the same. So that was just having those obstacles made it a little rough. And fortunately, as the summer went on, I lost my big brother in August to liver cancer. So that was also a huge obstacle. It was really rough for me and my family to get through. But you just took it day by day, and still just trying to prepare for the season. Once we got word that we were having a spring season, I was excited. But obviously having, mental issues and other things going on, and other things like that just kept weighing. So the opportunity to come here was huge for me, obviously, because it's a great team and they're ranked 6th, 7th in the nation. So having that going into the season just makes it that much of a better taste for me. You know what I mean? Because it's like a dream come true, obviously, to be able to showcase my talent on a national stage like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously Cincinnati, fresh off an undefeated regular season, took Georgia down to the wire in their bowl game. So excellent football team. And I'm happy to see that you landed there. And I'm kind of curious, James, because I know you were obviously in the portal once, but then you had an opportunity to be in it a second time. This second time, obviously, coming off the sophomore All-American, obviously you had a name now in the game. People knew who you are. You had the tape from 2019, which was excellent, and then now have maybe a little more notoriety. How different was the portal the second time, and how many teams were reaching out, and maybe a little bit ultimately of why Cincinnati was the best team besides for, like you said, 6th or 7th ranked team in the country, right?
Right. It was crazy the first time, but the second time it was definitely crazy. I would say I can't even think of a different word for that. It was constantly, probably every other minute, schools were contacting me, reaching out, and that's as expected, obviously. But picking here was pretty much a no-brainer because I also had like a small bridge with my buddy, former teammate of mine at UConn, Darian Beavers. We still kept in touch. We're still very close friends. We still hang out and stuff, even when we didn't go to the same school. So having that bridge obviously was very, very helpful, and very easy because during COVID times it's not like you can take official visits and go visit different schools and stuff. You got to be able to take words and interact on Zoom and over the phone and stuff like that. So it was just it was a different kind of process, but it was still pretty extravagant. It was wild.
And how has been the transition been for you, James, so far? Because obviously we're talking about a high expectations team, right? Where guys like Desmond Ridder and Myjai Sanders and so many great football players. How has just the transition been, and how impressed have you been with just the overall talent on the team so far?
Overall, I would say the transition has been pretty good. It's been pretty good, I would say, because I've been able to come in as not a freshman or a young guy, so that helped a lot because I was already aware of what the do's and don'ts of college. So I was able to just come in smoothly, enroll in classes, doing great in all my classes. I'll probably finish the semester with over 3.0. I was able to be here for the beginning of spring ball and winter workouts, which was it was good work. I will attest to this. The strength staff here is they're definitely one of the best in the country. I put on a few pounds with some good muscle and stuff. I'm feeling good, and being able to play with those kind of guys, it's also been it's been pretty good too. It's been pretty exciting because there are some dogs on this team. I would say some very talented guys. And it's been really, really amazing to be able to compete with guys like Myjai in practice and stuff, and just us making each other better for one, and playing with Dez, obviously being able to have reps with the ones and stuff like that, and obviously playing with Dez, he's a great leader too. He's like the facilitator on the field. It's just like it's different, but I'm adjusting pretty well. Learning everything here that I need to learn, and been in playbook like stuff like that, and it's just been a overall great experience.
And obviously a lot of people are going to be wondering, James Hudson, obviously only 1 year as a starter for the Cincinnati Bearcats, but was a great player at left tackle. Is that the plan right now for you, James, is left tackle the spot, or are you competing at multiple positions? What is kind of that outlook for your competition to start here?
Well, as of right now, just want to compete. I don't want to, go or say too much. I just want to compete, and, wherever the coaches feel like I am the most effective and the most, the best spot for me, then that's the, spot I'll go to. But any spot with me, I'm fine with. I feel like I can play all five.
No, absolutely. And that was one of the main and most impressive things about you when I watched your tape at Stony Brook was I felt like usually guys would either excel as an athlete or excel as a power player, but I felt like you were kind of the best of both worlds. You had both attributes, which is why you're saying and why it makes sense that he can play multiple positions because he kind of hits all these thresholds, checks all these boxes. Now taking your game to the next level, trying to make this transition, what are some things that for you are going to be the next key steps for you to be the best football player? What are some things that you're trying to improve on?
Definitely some things I want to improve on, and just cleaning up the little things like punch timing and making sure you don't overset. Just being a good athlete with your feet and being a good athlete in space. Obviously I wanted to improve on my run game a little bit, and adding some weight with some muscle, obviously going to help me with that, and it has been helping a little bit, obviously, as I've been seeing the spring ball. So just being able to clean up on the little things and improve my run game and even improve my pass blocking game, just been the things that I feel like will help me continue to achieve my goal and my dreams of making it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. And obviously I know Cincinnati has, I'm sure, big standards and big expectations for next year, coming off of an undefeated season and taking Georgia to the wire. What is the atmosphere around the program right now? What for you guys? I know you've only been there, a little while so far, but what do you feel like is the atmosphere around as far as next season? This is what we need to do for it to be successful. These are the goals that we have set forth.
Well, I want to first start off by saying the atmosphere is amazing here, and I feel like there are a bunch of leaders on the team that really keep the team going. So I feel like the coaches don't even have to say much. I feel like everybody here knows the expectations, which is give 100% effort all the time, do what you're supposed to do, follow our core values, and I feel like everybody here knows the core values and then follows them to the best of their abilities, and that's probably why that you've been seeing the results you guys been seeing, and it's really a testament to this program and how Coach Fickle's been running the team, and it's really it's really different, so I haven't really experienced something like this in the past, but I'm glad I'm have the opportunity to experience something like this now.
And last question I have for you, obviously I wanted to reach out to you begin with because I think that you have all the necessary skill set to play at the next level ultimately, right? To play at the NFL level. Kind of looking forward into the future because I know you have options, right? It doesn't have to be 2022. It could be 2023. Who knows when you'll ultimately make that jump. But when that does happen, just the blessing to know that, hey, I might have the talent to play professional football. And how long of a dream has that been for you?
It's been a dream of mine for a while now, I would say. Probably since high school, it's been a dream of mine for it to actually be a reality is, just really crazy for me, and especially for my family, because, it's just kind of just been like happening just like out of nowhere, because, I wasn't really all that great up until my senior year of high school. So it's like, it's really just been unraveling for like the best way possible. And I'm just, really happy and excited that, it's been going pretty good for me for the most part. Obviously 2020 has been an awful year, but everything's been trending up back the right way. So I'm just, happy that I've been able to make the best of this whole college experience.
Yeah. And we can't wait to see him, obviously, in a Bearcat uniform next year. Again, Mr. James Tunstall, former UConn offensive lineman, former All-American at Stony Brook. Now he's looking to take over one of the offensive line positions for the Bearcats next year. James, appreciate it so much, man. This has been a long time in the making. Appreciate you taking a few minutes with me today.
Of course, and I appreciate you for having me on today. Thank you so much.